Do this. Getting into our 7th game of this series. Spawning in the top right of Yansu, playing for Team Kessel in purple. It's going to be the Protoss player Bombadil. It's going to be up to him to keep Kessel in this week's series. If he cannot win this, the match series will go to iXT. So yeah, this is an important game here. And spotting in the bottom left for Team iXT is in green. It's the Terran player. His name is Fiend. Players had a bit of trouble contacting each other. They ended up just kind of stumbling into each other online, which that works. Always works. Always good to have everybody get their games in nice and simply. But everything works out. They are playing, so that's cool. A little bit of pseudo BM manner going on here. No problem. TVP is I feel like it's an extremely even matchup. It can be very hard in certain spots of the game. It can be very, very frustrating for a Terran player to try and attack a lot of the times. Especially early on, assuming your Protoss player decides to expand very, very quickly. It's very, very hard to punish that. But overall, this matchup has ended up being fairly even throughout the entire game. It's just, there's not much a Terran player can do to cheese. And it doesn't look like Fiend's going to be doing it. He's going to go for CC first. Because CC first is the only build that's awesome in TVP. So we'll just see if Bombadil recognizes this and tries to punish it at all. His probe will be getting in relatively soon, actually. And it's going to see what's going on. It's going to see the CDC first and see if he's going to decide to. He's not going to harass just yet. One Rex on the way for Fiends. Fiend is also scouting out as well with the SCV, so he's going to get across the map and see what's going on very quickly as well. But nothing out of the ordinary coming from Bombadil. Just getting up normal structure. Actually, is he gonna? It looks like he's gonna forgo getting his. What's it called? What's that? A building called Cybercore, and get a Nexus instead. So that's intriguing. I've never seen that decision, but I suppose that'll work. And Bombadil's choosing to surround his opponent's SCV, scouting SCV, so it couldn't see the fact there was no Cybercore. But obviously, not seeing the building there should be a little weird. And he didn't see the Nexus was being made. So he could be a little worried at this point about what's going on, and still only on one barracks at this point. It's a little strange to see only one Rax and no orbitals being made. Second Rax is coming down. A third Rax also at the same time. So just kind of making everything at once, but still no orbitals, and doesn't have the minerals to make 2 orbitals now because he threw down 2 barracks at the same time. So a little unsure play from Fiend. Actually, it looks like he's going to be scouting around for some proxies. This map has some nice proxy positions, but he's going to look around for all those, and he's not getting proxied anyway. It just looked a little strange since he didn't see a Cybercore and he didn't see the expansion. But it is indeed just an expansion. So I'd hope to see Fiend actually walk over and catch wind of this expansion being up as soon as he possibly can, so he knows what he's facing. There is no bunker up yet for Fiend, not even being made. But given how Bombadil skipped the Cybercore and actually skipped his first Zealot as well, there's really no need to have the bunker up, and this probe does go down. Probe does die, so all it sees is the fact that the CC is there, which is all it has seen in the first place, and all it's seen is 1 barracks. So this game's going to transition into a bit of a longer game. 2 gas coming down at the same time for Fiend, so he's going to be able to get up his stam and his combat shield, etc., etc. We'll have Bombadil going straight into a robot facility before he adds on any extra gateways, so he's going about as light on gateway units as you possibly can. And given that Fiend does have 3 barracks, all making Marines at once, if he just continually pumps out these Marines, he could push across the map and do a lot of damage. There's no Mothership Core yet, and even if he were to push out with these 6 or 7 Marines here, now 8 Marines, that Mothership Core won't have the energy for an overcharge by the time they get there. And with just only a sentry and a stalker out at the moment, that could be a humongous problem if Fiend was able to recognize it. But I don't think he realizes this was made up here yet. He hasn't seen that the natural nexus is up and running. He hasn't seen any tech in the main at all. So he's probably playing a little. He's playing a little blind, playing a little scared, probably. Just trying to play as safe as he possibly can. Getting on 2 tech labs for his what's the word, for his stim and combat shield. Also going to a factory relatively quickly compared to the numbers of gases that he has. Only the 2 gases, and trying to go double tech lab and factory. It can be a little difficult. Really, it's not going to have the gas he needs in order to. He'd actually get in there to see that. I thought he was going to get in and finally see the Nexus up, but he wasn't able to. He will. The SCV will sack itself, and it will be able to at least scout out the fact that the Nexus does exist. And when he sees that, in the amount of, he didn't quite see the amount of workers there, but he did see a good chunk that were already on this side of the mineral patches. So he knows that Nexus has been up for a while. Kind of hope to respond with the 3rd command center, but he probably doesn't go into the starport. But he doesn't have the gas for it. That's really all there is to it. He needs to add on at least 1 more gas, if not the 2nd one. Probably only 1, since he is only on 2 command centers. Bombadil is immediately going into Colossus. Super fast Colossus. The super fast Colossus, super fast double forges, and adding on just some more gateways. Bombadil playing very well, spending his money very well here. Great infrastructure, 46 workers to 36 workers at 9 minutes for our Protoss player. So even without going strictly Nexus first, it was a very fast Nexus for Bombadil, but still, he's got a very nice work count at the moment. He's going to be able to take his 3rd fairly soon once he gets a few Colossus out, and he may just want to attack with a few Colossus when he gets those up as well. 2nd Colossus on the way. +1 ground weapons already on the way. +1 armor will be on the way in just a moment. Are there any engineering bays? There are 2 engineering bays for Fiend. So his upgrades will be able to start eventually, but again, his worker count is fairly low, and his gas count is still pretty low. Is he going to be able to snipe off this? He does snipe off the observers. That's a nice little victory for him. If his opponent doesn't want to stop creating Colossus for a few moments and make an observer, he's going to be a little bit blind for a while. I don't think he's going to mind that at all. Going into a Twilight Council, he's going to be able to go into 2-2 pretty much immediately. He's got the money. He's already knocked down the rocks to take his 3rd base, which I expect to see relatively soon from Bombadil. Scan coming from Fiend, seeing the Robo Bay and Robo Facility in work, already done there. He knows he's going to be facing some Colossus, so he really can't move out. He could try to do some drop play to keep his opponent pinned back for a little bit, but the way the infrastructure looks at the moment, it looks like it could be a very hefty attack for Bombadil with about 2 or 3 Colossus, which is a very scary push to hold as a Terran player. Regardless, it looks like Fiend, he has rallied in a CV over here. Oh, there was somebody, I guess Pro Killer was, oh nice, Pro Killer was spectating this game apparently. Fiend is over here to take his 3rd base eventually. He just doesn't have the money for it. He's only on 49 workers, 11.5 minutes into the game, so he really can't afford to do too much and still make army units. But, oh well. 1-1, actually only, 1-1 is just now started. It's just now started, and 2-2 is going to finish for the Protoss player. Well, if he gets 2-2 started, he just needs to start his 2nd armor upgrade. And he will have 2-2 finish before 1-1 even finishes. At least 2 + 2 attack will finish for Bombadil prior to 1-1 even finishing for Fiend. Combat shield and no combat shield just yet. And again, it's just coming down to a very low worker count for Fiend in comparison to his Protoss opponent. Only 49 workers right now to the 60 of Bombadil. It's kind of a scary situation to be in. And Bombadil's 3rd is already up. He's already putting cannons at his 3rd, so he's gonna be pretty safe from any like small drops that come in. A massive attack will be able to do a lot of damage here, but a massive attack also leaves his opponent pretty open to counters of a sort. However, there aren't any proxy pylons on the map anywhere. There's no reinforcing pylons across the map, so moving out is going to be very difficult for Bombadil. And Fiend is going to stem in here, and it looks like he's just going to try to take out this 3rd. And pull away. Hopefully he does get the 3rd, and hopefully he's just going to move away. Time warp attempted, but not going to be able to get anything, and all these units are going to run away. So a nice snipe there for Fiend, but the army infrastructure for Bombadil is keeping him okay at the moment. Losing the 3rd is never anything you want to do, but the army count's kind of evened up there a little bit. I mean, obviously the Terran player is ahead in army, but there are these 2 Colossus already Third one is just about to finish, and Temple Archives has finished up for Bombadil. So he has all the tech that he wants to have, compared to his opponent still being on strictly bio at the moment. A couple Vikings have finished, and +1 ship weapons is on the way. Up to 4 Vikings now for Fiend, but no Ghost Academy just yet, and Storm is already on the way. So Bombadil is in a good position, even with losing that third. If Fiend had this third up 3 minutes ago, this would be a much rougher position for Bombadil to be in. But as it stands right now, it's actually still a fairly even game. By sniping the third, Fiend evened up the game. Rather than taking a massive lead, it merely just evened up the game. It looks like Bombadil is going to be pushing out a little bit, getting a little aggressive, or maybe just taking watchtowers. We'll have to see if any zealots go back there. Looks like he's just going to probably try to clear up the watchtowers at least. Actually, oh, there's the Colossus over here for some reason. Colossus over here, what are you doing? Why are you over here, Colossus? You silly. Yeah, so more Colossus on the way, Storm on the way. Are there any Templar on the field just yet? Nope, not on the field just yet. And indeed, all that Bombadil's going to do is take these watchtowers. Charge has already finished. So Bombadil's kind of late game composition is already ready. He's going to have +3 weapons fairly soon. +2 armor is going to finish up fairly soon as well. And +2 just started for Fiend. So his upgrades are a good bit behind his Protoss opponent, which is never where you want to be, given the fact that the Protoss does have Chrono and they can speed up upgrades if they're behind. But that's not going to be the case right now. Bombadil is going to be ahead in upgrades, and he's going to try to sit back and get more ahead rather than trying to attack. It is kind of a problem that Bombadil hasn't really been across the map at all. Ever since he lost his observer, he hasn't actually been to this side of the map at all. And again, with no pylons, actually, small little engagement coming down. 2 Colossus just completely out of position here. Get killed immediately. Small Storm goes down, but only on the front tip of Fiend's army. With the 2 Colossus here, actually, there should be enough Viking. There's 8 Vikings and only 2 Colossus and only the one Archon. Those Vikings could have taken out those Colossus for free, but Fiend is choosing to run away. Getting those 2 Colossus was a pretty big win, so he's got to be happy about that. And it looks like Bombadil is actually going to switch over, having seen how many Vikings his opponent has. He's going to switch over to making some Immortals instead. Hopefully to kind of just make all those Vikings completely and absolutely useless for Fiend. Interesting game so far. So, Protoss opponent is on +3/+2, getting +3 armor and +1 shields. Terran is only on 1/1. 2/2 is still a good 25 seconds away. And this is not much of an army back for Bombadil right now. He's teching so hard. He just has so many minerals and just not much gas. Killing this third did a lot more damage to Bombadil, and I think Bombadil realized it did. Just losing that gas income that early on. He's going to need to take, well, he could take this base, just needs to kill off these rocks. He needs to take a 4th base relatively quickly. His gas income is just fairly low. It's equaling, more or less equaling his Terran opponent, but Protoss armies are so gas reliant, especially in the late game. He really needs to have extra bases, and a couple of scouting, well, there's one scouting Phoenix moving across the map and checking out and seeing that this third is up and has been up for a while, making sure there is no hidden base over here behind the rocks, which can be super annoying. Nice little placement of Widow Mines by Fiend, making sure this base doesn't get taken, and if it does get taken, he's going to know about it. And even just getting some damage on all these units if they happen to roll on by. Are there any observers? There's one observer for Bombadil, but it's over here scouting for drops rather than anything else. Oh my god, look at the gateways. Look at all them gateways. And it looks like Bombadil got a few workers stuck doing that, but he's got 8 more gateways on the way. It's going to make a whole lot of gateways. It's going to make 19 gateways for him. And he's finally taken a 4th base. Kind of in this awkward position, but a little difficult to take a 4th base on this map. This could be a better 4th, maybe, given how far forward and how close to the Terran player this 4th is, and the fact that there is a base up here that can be found just by killing rocks. And Fiend is scanning and seeing that there is no base here. He knows there's no base here. It should tip off in his head. There might be a base down here, and if not, he's actually in a good position. Oh, excuse me. 1 Marine going forward, trying to scout out where the army is, and the scan also does the same thing. +3 armor, just about to finish for Bombadil here. and that's going to make a huge difference, especially against only 2-2. 3-3 is on the way. Luckily, Fiend started 3-3 pretty much immediately after 2-2 finished, so he's not going to be behind for an extremely long time. But he does have a lot of idle workers back home. 17 workers are sitting back home. Oh, nice movement by Bombadil, moving one Templar forward to storm that little batch of the army over there. Actually, there was a nice huge EMP went off too, apparently. All these Protoss army units don't have any shields. Most of these Zealots are without their shields. See how many of these aren't shaded or aren't covered by the green or whatever. So a good portion of those lost their shields. There was no observer here. There's still no observer. Actually, is that an observer? No, it's another ship core. There's no observer here. How many ghosts does he have? I don't believe he has many. Only 4 ghosts. And most of them are not back there. But ghost, do they have cloak? I think they have cloak. No, they don't have cloak yet. Okay, they almost have cloak. If they had cloak at that point, he's gonna run in, EMP'd everything, then run in with the rest of his stem army. A Protoss army with half its health immediately is it's always nice to have. Oh, one little flanking Templar gets a ton of damage in. That's gonna waste a lot of the medevac energy here, but it's a nice little move here, and with that, Bombadil's going to move his army forward and maybe take an engagement here. There are 8 ghosts out now, and there's not too many Templar left. There's only 2 Templar, 200 energy and 55 energy on those, so not many storms available. But still, there is no observer, so this ghost is just running free. Gets one Templar kill, and actually looks like he's looking for another one. And all these ghosts are going to cloak and move forward. Still no, huge EMPs. Money EMPs, and this entire army looks like it's going to be shredded. 190 supply to 130 now. But, those upgrades. Upgrades doing a lot of work here for Bombadil. +3, +2, +1 for him. And 3-3 just finished for Fiend. 103 army supply to 44. He needs to go check out this base, though. This base does not need to exist any longer. All of Bombadil's army is now in Zealots and these 2 Archons. Is he making any Colossus? He's making an Observer now, realizing that, hey, I just lost that engagement because I had no Observer. Those were huge EMPs, and a base getting sniped by Fiend. Fiend even taking another base, this kind of cordoned off one because of the rocks here. It's going to work out nicely for him. Already having another base down here. Needs to take the gas, though. Eventually he will need that gas once he wants to start replenishing his ghosts. 76 to 77 harvesters. Both players sitting on a lot of harvesters, and with 4 orbital commands, I believe. 1, 2, 3 should be one of the main. Yes, 4 orbital commands. Fiend could stand to lose a hefty amount of workers and be okay. That's a lot of Archons. That's a lot of Archons with really nice upgrades. First, not much bio. A lot of the bio is back home still chilling. So this engagement is going to go pretty heavily into Bombadil's favor, thanks to the upgrades. It's a lot of ghosts, though. Okay, Fiend did get through there. Fiend did push through that army. It looked a little scary for a little bit. Nothing but Zealots really left. Zealots and some Templar, and only 4 ghosts left for Fiend. He needs to join up all of his army together, though, so he can actually take this army out. He's actually sniping off these Templar pretty well. The 2 Templar that are left don't have the energy for any storms, but another massive warp in by Bombadil, and Fiend is just going to have to run away from this, leaving a few units behind. Those poor units were just left behind for dead. It's okay. All the army joining up together finally. 122 to 73 army supply in favor of our Terran player. This has probably been the best match of the series thus far. Very back and forth, more or less. Bombadil was ahead for a long portion of this game, taking an immediate and very large upgrade advantage, but Fiend managed to snipe this 3rd base once, and that really put him back into the thick of these things. And right now his opponent is just on all of these Zealots and a few Archons. There's no other real AoE. There are a few Templar with 2, 3 storms amongst them, but good EMPs, or even just straight EMPs on this army, reduces its health by half. All of these Zealots will end up with 0 shields, and all of those Templar with 0 energy. It'll be a big win, and you're going to see a huge engagement here, and lots of huge EMPs. Most of the army lost all of its shield immediately, and Fiend is going to back off here. More EMPs going down, taking another nice engagement, but I think most of the medevacs got killed here, and Bombadil's just going to push through that. He doesn't care. Oh lord. How in the world did that just happen? Zealots are pretty good, and with I think all the medevacs actually got feedbacked. After all of these EMPs, Bombadil realized he couldn't actually use Storm or anything useful, so he feedbacked all the medevacs, and now he's down to 0 medevacs, and this is looking pretty grim for Fiend, trying to somehow hold this off, and this base is in a rough spot now. Bombadil pushing in, getting on top of some of Fiend's extra production, and, well, I don't know. There's a lot of production. There's a whole lot of production right now for Fiend. 6 Marines, 7 Ghosts, 6 Marauders at a time, along with 2 medevacs, and just this small amount of army over here for Bombadil. It's going to be able to push back, as well as the Planetary. Planetary with some repairs is going to do a lot of damage to this army. And the army might actually get trapped if it decides to do that, but no, it does turn around. More feedbacks going down on these medevacs. So medevacs have been kind of dead weight. Very low energy for much of this ending of the game here, but the production at the moment is just so vastly in the favor of our Terran player here. The income tab probably would tell you why there. 2,200 minerals to 1,600 minerals at a time, and 700 gas and 500 gas for our Protoss player. Never really anything you want to see. And Fiend engaging from both directions, Ghost on both sides, nice EMPs going down. Most of the army has died off, and what's left is getting surrounded. A lot of Ghosts, just a whole lot of bio here against just a lot of Zealots. And Zealots and Stalkers alone, late game PvT is not what you want to see. And even just the bank down here, 1,000 minerals and 2,000 gas for our Terran player. Only 200 minerals and 500, 600 gas for our Protoss player. Some more EMPs do rain down on the Protoss. It's a lot of Templar just going to feedback some more. So these medevacs are doing absolutely nothing, so that's nice. But still, just more Ghost, more bio coming in. 7 Marauders, 6 Marines at a time now. This army has completely died up. 198 supply to 109. And Fiend has put himself in a good position. Doesn't need to take out this base here, though. If he lets Bombadil get back into this game by just creating units, it's going to be a bad time for him. Bombadil realizing he needs some AoE and getting out some Archons here. Fiend scanning and seeing where the army is, and realizing his base is kind of in a bad spot. He's going to have to turn around and come back and face this army, and Bombadil sees this, calls out the GG, well played. Fiend will take this map, and will take the week series for extraterrestrials. We still have 2 more sets for you. These games don't matter for the overall week, however, every single map does count for tiebreakers and the like. So every map matters at this point in the season, especially. This is only week 4 in a 9-week season, so every map is important. So stick with us. We'll be back with our next game, your goal game with Fiend and